Desh. Good to have you on the podcast. So, you recently attended the ICANN forum. So, would you like to tell us about what it was exactly?
Yeah, sure. So I attended actually the ICANN 64 Community Forum, which is like ICANN has multiple conferences in a year. So this one was a community forum, which is like one of the largest ones that ICANN ever has, and it was in Kobe, Japan. So ICANN stands for Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. So this is a organization which partly is responsible for governing the internet domain itself. So it calls like people like us, like the youth especially, who are called the next geners. So we are the next gen youth that they call, who will be taking part in the governance of the internet in the near future. So I was there on a scholarship, fully funded by the next gen community in the ICANN. And like me, there were many fellows. So they have these fellowships program as well for the senior members. They have ambassadors. So there are three different communities, and you can always attend as an individual. So the whole conference was about making people understand the internet domain, how the DNS system works, how IP addresses are assigned to a computer, why was actually and how actually internet was created, and to ensure the accessibility, openness, and security of the internet domain in today's world, because we see many countries are having issues with blocking content on internet or like controlling internet. So this conference is to raise issues like these. So I attended in that respect. Yeah.
Right. So, can you tell us about how people are chosen for this forum, and on what criteria are these fellows and scholars selected, and how did
Okay.
you get the chance?
Sure. So actually, my journey, like not just this fellowship, so because I attended ICANN fellowships, I'll tell you a history about it. I mean, so that the people who are like, the potential applicants for this may know about other fellowships as well. So I myself started with the Internet Governance Fellowship. So there's there's this IG fellowship, which is called the Internet Governance Forum, which provides you with the youth at IGF fellowship, which happens like at different places two times in a year across the world. So they provide this youth at IGF fellowship in which they fully sponsor you, and the prerequisite is that you must be working in a domain which is somewhat or somewhere related to the internet. So you may be doing anything like any business or any academic research or any your personal project which is either on the internet or which partly relates to the functioning of the internet, to better the internet, to better the accessibility or the security or this entire domain and system or something like this. So it should be related to the internet. And we see in today's world like almost everything is either on the internet or related to the internet. So we are all actually can be a potential applicant for this fellowship. So this was one thing. Then for the ICANN fellowship, which I attended recently in Japan, so for this is a more technical fellowship. So you must have some knowledge, like basic prerequisite is required, I would say, because I'm telling from the practical experiences. This is not that which something that they require. They say that you can come from any or every field possible. But I, from the practical experience, I'm telling you, if you have some technical knowledge, it's way better than otherwise. Because I myself didn't have any. So I was from a public policy management field. So for the first time, it's very intimidating for a person like me, because like I have no technical knowledge. I don't know how IP addresses or DNS servers or whatever that was is assigned or works. But this is the reason that you should actually attend it. So if you don't have a knowledge, you have an opportunity to know about this domain from scratch. So there are people whom you meet, there are communities who you interact with, there are businesses working in this domain who you can interact with. You can present your own project for this. So you must be working on a project to get selected, and you should present a small research idea for the fellowship application, that this is what I want to work on, this is what I want to present at the ICANN forum. And you have to answer some very simple questions, like what do you think about the openness and security of the internet, how do you view the accessibility of internet, how do you want to promote the accessibility of the internet, something like this. They have like different questions every time. And then if you get through, you get selected for the fellowship. It's very coveted fellowship. You get there like hundreds and hundreds of application. This is the next gen fellowship. Then after you are a next gen, you go for an ambassador fellowship, which is like if you are alumni of a next gen fellowship. Then after you are completed your term as an ambassador, then you move up the ladder and go as a proper fellow, like which is for the older people, like once you have been there, like yeah, with
in the
these
community for some time.
yeah, exactly.
So can you tell us about what you presented at the forum?
Yeah, sure. So my work, because so I have this startup in India. So right now I'm based in China. So I'm partly working, partly studying in China. So I have this startup in India which is called Precisely. So we call it Precisely the Opportunity Hub. So we call it the Google for opportunities. So why we call it like that is that because we have created this special mobile platform which curates content from all over the internet, which we call opportunities in the form of jobs, internships, scholarships, conferences, seminars, like these kind of things, and personalizes the whole content for you, like which is done by our team partly and partly by the AI engine, the unique one which we have developed. So that thing, those two things combined, we present you a very personalized experience. So you don't have to like go on Google and search for and skim through hundreds of pages on Google and find the right opportunity for you. You can just go on our app, select some filters, and then start interacting with the application, and it knows you better. So how my work, my this startup is related to the internet domain is that we are ensuring that this information which is already open is accessible to the grassroots communities all across the world. So even if you have like a simple smartphone mobile which can download application, right, you can use our, you don't have to have a very high internet connections domain to open all those websites which contain these opportunities. You can just read our small content on our cards and just swipe through in less than 50 words. So it's for them. You do, yeah, if you are not knowing English as a native language, if you do not speak English at all, if you come from a region in India or any part of the world which like you speak different language, you don't have to search the same keywords or same like which are like, because websites are SEO optimized in English mostly. So you don't have to like search the same keywords as the English native speakers do. You can just search or like just browse in your own language, because we offer our application more than 15 languages. So we are also ensuring accessibility in that front. We are making the content more open. So this is what I presented actually. This is what I went for.
Okay, so that side, how is the community like? Like who all came to the forum? Who all joined? Like, can you tell us about the people that were there?
Okay, so I mean, there are many different kinds of communities that join it. So first, I'll start with the academia. So like the students and the professors who join it. So if you have a research in your university, in your bachelor's, master's, PhD, which pertains to the internet domain, then you can join, of course. Then you have business people, so the businessmen who have these, industries or corporations working in this sector. So maybe you are a domain name provider, let's say. So you're working in this industry, so you are a potential like applicant for these fellowships or for attending this kind of conference, because you have a vested interest in there. Like, so you want to know how the policies are shaped for internet. You want to know like how actually decisions are made. You want to be a part of it because it's a community forum. So all of us have a voice in this. So if you are attending, you have a voice, because we have these public forums, because you can raise your voice, you can raise your concerns, and that will be answered by the board of directors of ICANN. So that's another thing. And then the third community is the social workers or like the NGOs, which are working for the openness and accessibility in different remote regions of the world. So these three are the major communities, yeah, I would say. And then some people are working as staff in different, that like there are organizations like Dot Asia, there are organizations like, I'd say GoDaddy, who are like, so these people like who are working as staff, they are also representing their organizations because they fall under the domain of internet again, and they voice their own concerns, to make their corporations, to make their NGOs organizations like whatever they want from the ICANN. So these four different communities are usually represented there. Yes.
So a lot of people want to go to these places, conferences, but they don't actually have an idea. So do you have an idea of how do they apply? How do they get selected? So can you tell us a bit about how a student should prepare his portfolio or profile for these conferences or fellowships, I would say, and how do you go about searching them? How do you apply for them? What is your approach basically?
Okay, so I would say like basically when I started doing these things, so it's I would say uh, like it's a snowball effect. So you have to start rolling out to gather more and more and more into your CV. So you have to start from somewhere. So you don't have to actually look for a fully funded opportunity to go like for the initial one. So just go whatever you suits you as opportunity in your field. So with me, I started with a conference in Chile, which was sponsored by my university, but like it's not at all necessary that it should be always sponsored or fully funded. But because I went to that conference, which was called the U21 conference, I got networking and contacts for like 13, 14 more conferences in the future. So I made contact, I made friends who were attending these kind of events, who were interested in the same domain that I was, like because that particular conference was in the domain of social welfare and social intervention. So I was there. So then I got to know about a second conference about this, which was in Indonesia. I made friends there and networked there. Then I got to know about the third one. Then once you are alumni of these conferences, then you can always be a country ambassador, country director, or something like this, and associate yourself with the executive team of the conference, just to make sure that these conferences are proliferated inside your region or within your country. And these organizations are more than happy to do it, actually. So you should just approach them, never hesitate to approach them to ask, like, if you have an empty spot for my country, I really would want to promote this opportunity in my country. And if once you do that, and once you bring in applicants, these organizations, they are obliged to offer you a place again. So that makes sure that you are a part of something bigger.
So you're
So that
providing value to them in exchange for.
exactly. So once you become a member of one organization, then you can always, present your portfolio. Okay, this is what I have done for this particular organization. I can do this for you. I mean, the second organization, the B organization as well. So why don't you just try me? So they will also be like more than happy. Okay, I mean, this person has, been very active in this domain and has been attending so many conferences, been presenting papers, developing your CV. So they'll also invite you. But I would suggest that be like you should always be attending conferences or seminars or paper presentations within your domain, because these conferences can be very misleading. I mean, once you go into a conference, you meet so many different kinds of people from so many different domains that you are like awestruck sometimes. You just you are under the pressure of the aura of the whole thing. You feel like I should do this as well, I should attend this as well, which is sometimes very intimidating for a person who is just out of the school or just out of the university as a bachelor student. So you should make sure that you are you stick to a point, you stick to a path, and you follow that, which is you are like interested in. You shouldn't be like scattered around or like in every domain. So that's how I go about it, and that's how I would suggest.
And how do you go about finding these? So precisely is one of the apps that you can use. But how do you, like, when you select these opportunities? How do you categorize them, and how do you start the application process? Initiate the application process.
Okay, so for searching part, when precisely was not there, I would just go to the static websites to find information. But I was really bewildered by their, how they presented these opportunities, because again, that's the same way that you asked the question. That it's really difficult to actually decide upon where to go or which opportunity to choose, or how to categorize it, because even I, coming out just out of the school, I don't know where my interests lie, because before exploring you never get to know that.
Hmm.
So that's why actually I started working on this idea of precisely. So there exists this application, or you can have mentors, like with people who are associated with different, like who are experts in different domains. So I used to do this. So I would like contact a professor in my university, or like a person whom I know from a different university or different academia background. I like to ask them, this is what I want to do. This is like internet is the field I want to go in. So should I attend this conference? Should I like really present a paper there? If I should, like, how should I go about it? Or do you have anything else in mind that you can suggest as a conference to me? Then I just Google it. I go to that university, I search the department, then I find the detailed information on Google, and then I go on the department specific website and search for their seminars and conferences when they are happening, then plan my schedule according to it. Then I would contact a different agency which provides scholarship to attend these conferences, then write an application to them, get selected here in this opportunity, send them the papers, get scholarship from them, and then attend. Like, This is for the scholarship. If you have money enough, you can just go to these conferences and get selected. Always not easy, but yeah, it can be doable. But I mean, I think that you should give it a shot, like our application precisely, which will help you actually better organize all of these things. So we have actually made sure that you don't have to go through all the circle of these hassles to make sure that you get an opportunity, because we do that for you. So yeah,
Yeah,
like that.
that's a lot helpful. So, is there anything else that you would like to tell us about your application or the forum?
Yeah, so I would just say that, just move out of your cocoon, dears, because it's really important. You would never understand the value of networking until and unless you actually do it. So because you are studying a particular subject in your bachelor's, because you are doing a particular degree, you have to keep in mind that there are thousand others who are doing the same thing. So you have to make sure that you differentiate yourself in some or the other way. And this, the college time, the university time that you have, is the best free time that you can ever get in your life. And believe me, like, I'm telling this from experience. I'm telling this to all of our viewers. So you can, like, you will be like, I'm so busy, I'm in the education process, I'm completing my degree, I have no time. Actually, this is not actually true. Once you graduate, you'll be even busier. You'll not get a single minutes of time, because you'll be involved in jobs and master's application and whatnot, so this 3 years, 4 years, whatever you got as a bachelor student or as a master student even, like, this is the best free time that you can ever get to explore all these avenues of life. And once you are done exploring these, then you will have a better idea of how the world works. And once you have these contacts, you can always use them as references. You can always use them to be mentors for yourself. You can always do jobs under them or start a startup and make them a partner. Like, there are so many things that you can always do. So just make sure that you go out, move out of your cocoon. Just try. Just let's go for the first opportunity that you get. Just try working in the first internship that you ever get. Try out a job or something. That's what I would suggest all my viewers. Yes.
So, personal development is what you're talking about. So,
Exactly.
other than other than going for internships or attending these conferences, what skill sets do you think students should gain during their college life? Like learning a language, is that a good option? Should people do that? Uh, Learning
Yeah.
how to play
Mhm.
instrument, are these skills
Mhm.
valuable according to you? What do you think?
Okay, so yeah, so according to my personal experiences, the kind of people that I have interacted in the past, I think the most important skill that you can ever gain is public speaking. I mean, that is one skill. That's one skill which is not inherent with everybody. So you have to make sure that you practice it a lot. So it depends where you come from, which college you're attending, what language actually, like, what is your native language that you used to speak, if you're fluent enough in English or not. So it really depends on that. But these 3 years, you should hone this public speaking, exercise, because no matter in what field you are, you have to come across once in your life actually. And in a survey, like actual survey in the United States, people are more afraid of public speaking than they are of death. So this is one big issue that you have to yeah, you have to, like, go through. And that was I will suggest, like, just develop this public speaking part. Language, as you said, is very important, but I mean, it's overrated. So actually, no matter how many languages you learn, you'll always have a person who will you will come across and you don't know the language what he's speaking. So it's good to learn languages, but, like, I would say, like, if
It's
you are really learning
more
a
of a hobby,
language.
right?
Exactly, it's more of a hobby, it's more of your own passion, like, I want to learn a different language. So I would not force people to just because you have to do the personal development thing, you just go for a language. No, just go for these soft skills. So, like, public speaking is one of them. Or, like, I'd say, just networking in general, like, just meet people, go to these small events inside your region, inside your city, and meet people and just exchange business card, exchange ideas, like, exchange numbers, be in touch on WhatsApp, email them, like, whatever field you're working in, ask for help. This is a small networking opportunity that you can really build upon and use in your later life. So yeah, these some basic stuff.
Okay, so other than this, what else, like, do you think that students should develop in college or during their freshman years? So, should you go for skills outside your domain? So should someone in the humanities learn how to develop a website or deploy an application? Are these skills is going beyond your what do you say domain helpful, or is it just frustrating? You are just being you are just like trying out things at that point.
Okay, so starting from your last words, I would say trying out is the best thing that you can ever do. So actually, as I told you, like, these 3 years are the best years of your life. So utilizing them to the fullest is what I would suggest, and trying out different things is the best thing that you can ever do, actually. So I mean, just personal opinion, not like, I'm not preaching anything that you like this. Just a personal opinion that you should try out as much as possible. Just don't stick to your own domain. If you're a computer science student, try out opportunities, not just opportunities, try out different stuff in humanities as well, in sciences as well, in in history as well, if you are comfortable with it. I'm not saying just just study political science and go for it if you're a computer science student. No, because just try to relate things. This is what multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary means, and this is what is valued in the world. So nobody cares if you are really like an expert at this stage in one domain. People always look for a person who is very dynamic, who knows stuff, who knows how to interact with people, who knows history of his country as well, who knows computer science as well, who knows how to pitch an idea to the other person as well. Because I've seen this firsthand. Because once you meet a person, then you have all kinds of topics coming in your talks. And once you say, okay, somebody is asking you about your country and you don't know shit about it, I mean, you are just like, oh, I don't know my own history, I'm not like aware of it. I don't know. And the other person who is a foreigner for you, he knows a lot more about your country. I mean, there
That
have
can
been
be interesting.
instances which are, yeah, there have been instances where I've seen people being embarrassed, actually. So so just develop yourself in that sense as well. So just don't stick to one domain. And okay, if you want to really work in computer sciences, or like if you want to really work in political science, that's totally fine. But there are different subdomains inside that subject as well. So if you're a website developer, try Android. If you're an Android developer, try iOS. That expands your horizon. That expands your purview of viewing things. That expands the contacts that you shall make and bring to use in the near future. So that expands a lot of opportunities and avenues for you in the future. So I would say, I just suggest, like, but personally, like, just a personal opinion, that you should explore as much as possible. Yeah.
Yeah, you've talked a lot about making contacts and networking. So,
Hmm.
can you tell us a bit about how do you network in your daily life, and how do you network at these conferences? Is there a strategy that you follow, or it comes naturally to you? So, what is it?
Hmm. Okay, so I mean, that's very discretionary, actually, because different cultures and different countries where you go, this is like something called a cross-cultural management thing, which every individual has to understand, and it only comes by experience. So you can't just study it in the books. So no, like, I was in Japan. I currently live in China, so I was in Japan, and I met a person. Like, I'll just tell you an instance just to make sure, like, you are on the same page. So I met a person. He gave me, like, he was a potential investor. Like, he was really interested in my idea, and he was like, just come meet me in Tokyo whenever you have time, and this and that. And they're really polite. The Japanese are really polite. But Chinese and Japanese are very different. Like, it may seem that they are very similar, they're very different. So he gave me his business card by both his hands, and he was sitting in front of me with 20 other people like behind him. He was a really great guy. And I just went to him. I saw the business card, I read his name, and I put it in my back pocket. And that's the worst that you can do in front of a Japanese. Even, like, you can't even take the business card and keep it in your front pocket. They really find it really
Offensive.
offensive. Exactly, that's the right word, offensive. So what you should do in Japan is, like, you should see the card, you should read the post that the person hold, the designation. Then you should see where he works in, like the company. Then you should come to the name. And then, according to the designation, like, if he's a senior to you, you should bow down to him. If he's a junior to you, you should, like, shake hands with him. This kind of, and only then keep the card on that table and not on in your pocket. This is how you network or you get contacted with a Japanese guy. But this is totally different how you contact a Westerner, or how you get in touch with a Westerner, how you network with a Westerner. So I made a really bad impression in front of the Japanese, you know, but because I was very used to the, Western style of communication and networking. So that really depends. That really comes from experiences. But, you can always observe and learn. So once you are in a conference, see, like, if you see a Chinese guy talking to another Chinese, they're always like, because you always have these, small, I would say, groups of people from the same countries in a conference, because they always feel comfortable with each other. And you can see them talking, and just observe how they talk to each other, how they actually share contacts, how they, you don't actually have to know the language from their country, because in these type of conferences everybody knows English, because you have to have a common language to understand each other. So you can just go with English, and just for starters, don't touch anybody, like don't shake hands, or don't like hug anybody, because that works everywhere. So like, that wouldn't be offensive to anybody. So just go there, like say hello or hi, and my name is this, and start the conversation from there. And once you have observed the person, it helps you a way lot, and then you can just go forward with that, and then try to learn from that person. So before you end the conversation, ask him, so if we meet next time, how would you want to schedule it? Should we meet for a coffee? Should we meet for lunch? Or should we go do a Skype call, or on talk on email? Because it's really different in different cultures, and they would tell you from their side, which is way better than offending them. And once they tell you, keep in touch with them, always share business cards, keep in touch with them, drop them an email as soon as you return to your hotel room. I mean, drop them email instantly, like, hey, this and this, I met you today at this conference, I really liked the way we interacted, I'll make sure that we meet again somewhere in the world, this and that, like just exaggerate everything and just put it on the email, and make sure that keep in touch every 1 or 2 months, or like however possible. So that's how build contacts, and then they will be always up for you for help. I mean, nobody denies help. So it's like that, like the world is a good place. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good note to end this
Mhm.
podcast. So thank you for being with us today. Thanks a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.